Happy New Year, everybody. How are you today? Good. You know, this workshop is called Good to Great. So first of all, I just want you to relax, okay? A lot of you guys look like you're ready to study. Just relax, you know, this is a very informal environment, okay? And we're all here to learn, right? Okay, so, you know, this workshop's called Good to Great. And I just want to say right now, all of you guys are great. You stepped in this door, you are great. You know why you're great? Anybody know why you're great? You got to believe you're great. Why are you great? Yes, you got to be great to be a VP. And Sterling, why are you great today? Because you're sacrificing yourself today?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Well, look, the reason why I believe you are all great, okay, and I'm not lying, I really mean this. You are all great because, you know, right now, it is what? It's, what day is it today? Thursday. You know, most people right now, Thursday evening, they just finished work. What do they want to do? They just want to go home. They're so tired. They want to sit on a sofa, probably eat dinner, right? They just want to relax. They had a long day. They don't want to wash dishes. They don't want to do anything, right? Maybe some of them will probably just go out with their friends, maybe go to the bar, but they will just be relaxing, okay? But I want to tell you, that is not growing. And all of you guys are here today because you right now could be anywhere in the world, including everybody online. You could be anywhere in the world doing something else besides being here, right? And the fact that you showed up today means you're great, because when you come here, that means you are here to learn. And I'm here to learn. We're all here to learn and grow. And when you come here, you are doing something. Do you know what you're doing? You are investing in yourself. Yeah, I want you, from now on, when you come to a Toastmasters club, not just this workshop, but anytime you go to a Toastmasters club, I want you to think to yourself this: I'm going to invest in myself. Otherwise, why do you come? To see your friend you haven't seen in 2 weeks? No, you are coming here for yourself. It sounds a little bit selfish, but if you're not coming to a Toastmasters club to learn, then you might as well not come. You have to come with an attitude that I'm going to come. I'm not just going to share, but I am going to learn. Because if you do that, then you're investing in yourself. You're making a tremendous effort to be here. You know, I don't know what happened to you guys today, but some of you maybe had a fight at work. Maybe you had a terrible day. Maybe something happened, right? Maybe something happened in traffic. I don't know. Maybe some of you guys had the greatest day. But we all come from different lifestyles, different careers, different lives. But for some reason, somehow you got here, right? That makes you great. So right now, if you're great, why are you here? Well, because there are a lot of other things in our life that we can go from good to great. Okay, so I'm here to just share with you. I'm no expert. I'm not a professional. I'm just here to share with you because I learned a lot from other Toastmasters. And I came here to invest in myself. And so I'm here to share with you. Not here as a professional. I'm here to invest in myself too. And you know, you are at the best place ever. You know why? Because I have seen and I have tried before I entered Toastmasters, before I was a member, I even tried going to other organizations that do similar things that Toastmasters do, like public speaking, leadership, these kind of things. Do you know how much these courses cost? These seminars, courses, thousands of dollars. You could literally go broke. It's it's very expensive. And when I tried to go to these places and I was all excited, yeah, I want to do this. I want to learn public speaking because I have glossophobia. Glossophobia means you have a fear of public speaking. That's why I wanted to go. I told them, please make me a public speaker. And they said, okay, that's great. I was so excited. And he said, here's the price. I said, okay, I'll think about it. It was so expensive. And you know why you are at such a great place? Toastmasters. How much is it? A couple of bucks? You know, is compared to other organizations, Toastmasters is such a great place because here we don't have experts. Oh, maybe we do, but most of us are not experts, but we are here to share our experiences. How? Well, we also have done something. And when we go through things, we come here and share with you so that you also can learn. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Toastmasters has the best speakers in the world, the best leaders in the world. And how could we have that if we're a nonprofit? How is that possible? Because we're all sharing with each other. Okay. So what I'm trying to tell you is Toastmasters is unique and different from other places because Toastmasters is the only place where it's not just an organization. A lot of places you go to, they'll say, oh, we are this, we are that. But I've never heard anybody say it's a people business. Toastmasters is not just an organization. It's a people business. You have to deal with people. And if you don't like dealing with people, you're at the right place. Or if you don't know how to deal with people, then you need to learn how to deal with people. Toastmasters, without dealing with people, we have no Toastmasters. That's purely what Toastmasters is about. People business. Okay. So may I have the clicker? Yep. Thank you so much. So this workshop is called Good to Great, and I have a little PowerPoint. Can we put it up? Yes. Okay, it's called Good to Great. Well, how do you get from good to great? Well, I have to tell you, when I first started Toastmasters, I jumped right in. I mean, everybody has their own journey in Toastmasters. Okay, I have mine. When I started, I jumped right into the deep end. And what I mean by that is I did everything. I went to all these different clubs where people didn't even know me. I did speeches like crazy, and I entered my first speech contest the very first year I joined Toastmasters. And when I first joined, immediately, right away, I had a coach. Now, a lot of people, you might be thinking, coach, what's this? It's a new concept, right? Because right now, I honestly think that nowadays, even in Toastmasters today, a coach is not a very common concept. But I got a coach too, and I didn't know what a coach does either. But I had a coach because I entered the speech contest the very first year I joined Toastmasters. And, I learned from a coach. Coach was my friend, Josh Myers. We met at work, and that's how I got into Toastmasters. And he knew I was afraid of speaking in front of public, right? So he got me into Toastmasters, and we became friends. He became my coach, and he coached me on my speech for the speaking contest, right? And I also had a couple of other coaches, secondary and third coach, Diana Watson. I don't know if you know who she is. Yes. Okay, if you've ever met her, you'll never forget her. She is very strong, powerful, and very direct, okay? But we need people like that. So Diana Watson also coached me a little bit, and Teresa Jung, she also did as well. But my main coach was Josh Myers. The reason why I'm telling you this is because when you get a coach or somebody who helps you along your Toastmasters journey, like my friend did, Josh Myers, eventually, hopefully, you become a coach too. And you don't even have to say, hey, I'm a coach, but eventually you will be guiding somebody, right? Officially or unofficially. I ended up sharing what I learned in Toastmasters, in public speaking, in coaching. I shared it with my students. So I eventually became a coach myself. And I ended up coaching students at my school, how to do public speaking. And so they became the coachee. The coachee is the person that is learning. That's a coachee. I want you to remember that. And the great thing about Toastmasters is this. You don't have to pick up a book and learn something. I said it's a people business, right? So if you want to continue learning, you got to learn from your members. That's why you come. And honestly, Josh Myers was my coach. I became a coach myself. And my students became great coachees. And my students ended up being coaches to other people. So what I'm trying to tell you is it's a circle, right? It's called the power of duplication. I've never heard anybody use this yet, so I'm going to use it with you. Okay. Power of duplication is when you end up sharing what you learned to somebody, and that person ends up sharing it to other people, and so on and so on and so on. This is the great thing about Toastmasters, because maybe you didn't realize it, but in Toastmasters, you are duplicating what you learned from other people. That's what makes Toastmasters so great. And that's what makes Toastmasters continue on for 40, 50, 60, 70 years. It's so awesome. Okay. So this is very powerful. The power of duplication. And this is what I'm so thankful for being in Toastmasters, because believe me, Toastmasters has taught me so much, including pathways. I know a lot of people do not like pathways, but I was like that too. But I love pathways now. Pathways literally changed my life. And actually, pathways is one of the reasons, big reasons why I became a coach. And why my career did a complete 180 is because of pathways. I learned so much from pathways. I just want to just say really quickly, pathways is not a tool. If you keep using it as a tool, you just read it, check your speech guidelines, and come here and do a speech, you're not doing pathways properly. That is a very small part of pathways. Pathways is a lifestyle. It says right there, pathways, learning experience. What does that mean? It's a lifestyle. That means you got to apply pathways in your life. If you don't, you're not growing, you're not learning. The speech is just a report of what you're learning and what you're continuing to learn to grow. That's pathways. So that's for another time. Okay. Now, you know what? I don't want to do all the talking, right? I've got a victim. And you know what? I'm so glad Sterling is here to be our test speaker, because Sterling is one person that said that he would like to enter the speech contest. And so he will come and share his speech with us, and I'm going to try to coach him. Now, obviously, I only got 45 minutes, right? So you will not be able to learn everything I know in my head. Even sometimes I don't know what's going on in my head because I got a million things running around in my head. You probably stay here for 5 hours to know what I've learned. So I'll try to do my best to pick out certain things. I go really quickly. So if you see anything that works for you, that helps you, whatever I say, and it works for you, you think it's important, just write it down. Now you can be a student. Just write things down, okay? Because it goes really fast. Now, I'm just going to let Sterling do his speech right away, because the best way to learn is to have somebody come up here and do their speech, okay? I'm doing this whole workshop not from a speaker point of view. I'm doing this workshop from a coach's coaching point of view. So you can actually see what a coach should do when you're coaching somebody who's wanting to do a speech contest or just wanting to do a better speech. And then you can also try being a coach. Don't be afraid. In Toastmasters, we all learn from mistakes. This is the best place to make mistakes. When you screw up, Sterling's not going to go to his friends and say, hey, you know what? Mike screwed up in the club. They're not going to say that. This is the best place to make mistakes. Mistakes makes you better. Okay. So Sterling will do our speech. And after he does his speech, I will continue to keep him up here because he's going to continue speaking afterwards. And I'm going to try to give him some pointers as a coach. And then you can start writing things down. Okay. So right now, before I just keep talking, I'm going to introduce Sterling. Sterling, would you like to come up? Okay. This is Sterling Hsiao. Everybody know him. He's very, very famous. And Sterling is going to do a speech titled Good to Great. Let's welcome Sterling.
What if your husband asks you for some expensive stuff, but you are in a tough time in life? Will you allow him to do it? Contest chair, ladies and gentlemen, in 1997, I was canned from my animation company and got no job for 3 months. I was so depressed. One day, on the way to drive my wife home, one BMW cut me off and almost hit my car. What's of it? The driver even showed me a terrible gestures. Gosh, I was so pissed off. So I geared up and I want to tailgate the car. And I want to teach the guy a lesson. But at the moment, my car was a Toyota. It's a good car for the family, but not for the tailgating. Not to mention, it's a BMW. So a few minutes later, I couldn't even see his tail light. I was so ashamed and wondered why I was a loser. I couldn't find a job and was bullied by a guy on the street. All of a sudden, a strong idea came to my mind. I want to be that guy. Try a BMW. And at the same time, I told my wife, honey, see the car? She said, what? Look, I want to buy that car. My wife said, what? You know, we couldn't even make a living for our family. And you say you want to buy the BMW? Are you insane? Actually, I was so ashamed and wondered. Oh, no, sorry. I told my wife firmly, honey, trust me. I've been hanging out for so long with no aunt, no future in my life. And now, which I was just like a walking dead. I really want to commit suicide. But today, something happened to me. That is the car, a BMW. And honey, I give you my promise. That is, I will pay the car loan by myself. And you take care of my kids and family, okay? Because I think this is my last straw in my life. I'm too old. I want to get something different in my life to stimulate my living. And my wife, after almost 6 months of a dispute and argument, with her love and trust in me, my wife finally bought a BMW for me with all her savings and deposit in the bank. I still remember when I drove my car with her, she said, I never heard you give promise to me, even on the wedding. And now you could swear. And this time I think I did see your determination to be different. And I love you. And I asserted that you will fulfill your commitment and take care of our family forever, right? I say yes. At the moment, I cry because in that kind of tough time, my wife would help me for that small dreams for a man, the losers. So, and after that, I set up my goals and try to find job at the first because I don't have job. So I find my job. I bought my BMW after 2 weeks, and I find the job. It is an acting job. Then something with the income coming, right? And after that, another teaching job, teaching illustration to kids at school. Also another job, another works, money enter. Then, luckily, the first month, I successfully pay the loan. It's about 32,000. Look, for 3 months, don't have work, but after the car, I changed. I became proactive. So I think it's good. And then I think, and so besides that, I also tell you another truth. That is, after my car, I also paid all the loan within 13 months, pay all the loan. And also after that, I also earned almost within 2 years, I earned almost 8 million NT dollars. And now become the person like me right now. So I'm really glad that the guy really helped me. I mean, the guy, the driver really helped me. Yeah. So, and also I made my word to my wife, and I turned my life to be a freelancer till now. And now my car is almost 25 years old, and I still keep it as my treasure, and like my oath to my family. And also look at my wife and feel appreciated and loved. And I want to say thank you, my love, for upgrading my car from a good Toyota to a great BMW. Similarly, through my willpower and commitment, I turned my life from a period of losers to a phase of victorious. So, dear fellows, if somebody asks you about something really expensive, no matter who they are, if they can give their commitment and promise, I think you have to allow them, because the result always beyond your expectation. Countess, cheers.
Oh, Sterling, don't go anywhere, please. Stay right there.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, actually, I hope you guys, do I need to use the microphone? Can you guys hear me? Okay, great.
Okay, good.
Online, they can hear me. I've got this microphone.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm going to be
Yes.
speaking as a coach now, okay?
Yes, sure, please.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. All right, so Sterling, you got to stay there. So first of all, I just want to say I've had a chance to see your script, okay? And you know, what I like about you, because I've seen your other speeches as well. You got the same style. You know, your body language is really good. You got great expressions. Your energy level is always really good. Today, a little bit, okay. You got humor. People laugh when you talk, okay? I don't know if you know this, but you're very humorous. And the most important thing is, you know, what Sterling does really, really well that a lot of speakers have real trouble with is they have trouble being authentic, being themselves. And the best speakers in the world are themselves when they're on stage. When they're off stage, they're the same. It's like you go there and you talk to your best friend in front of a coffee shop. When you talk to your best friend, that is the way ultimately you should speak on stage. When you speak to the audience, even if you don't know them, you got to treat them like they're your best friend. So Sterling, the way he's talking now is, I know Sterling a little bit. I know how he talks off stage. He talks exactly the same, the way he does on stage and the way he does off stage. And I can tell it's pretty much the same. So he's being authentic. Okay, that's the good part.
Thank you.
Okay, here's the part I need to help you. Okay?
Definitely, yeah.
And don't feel hurt because you know I'm a coach. Okay?
I know.
And as a coach, you know, look, coach is not here to make friends with you.
No.
They're here to help you, and that
Yes.
sometimes it means breaks little hearts. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't mean that in a personal way. Okay, because look, Sterling, you
Yes.
said you want to try to get to the district level, right? And somehow for some reason you can never
Yes,
get to the.
yes.
So you gotta accept this, okay?
Yeah,
so
definitely,
First of all,
definitely.
before I get into your helping you with your speech, I have to say you're a little unprepared,
Okay.
totally unprepared. Okay. And I could tell by the script, because I read it this morning, I could tell you filled in a lot of stuff you weren't supposed to say. That is okay, but considering that you don't know the speech well, you shouldn't make it up like that. Stick to the script. Okay. So only you make up things when you know your script really well, but you lose yourself on stage, then you can try to make things up. Okay? Then nobody will know. Okay? But in Sterling's case, he was unprepared, and that's why he started saying different things. And that's not good. Okay. Also, timer, what was his time?
Wow.
Okay, too long, right?
Okay.
That's because you lost yourself.
Yes.
You didn't know what to say, right?
Yes,
You got nervous. I could tell
Yes.
a little bit you were getting nervous.
Yes.
That's what happens when you're unprepared. The best speakers are prepared speakers. So always be prepared, because if you're not prepared, you're going to get nervous on stage because they're going to go, oh, I screwed up. I don't know I don't know what I'm doing. That's when you get nervous. Okay. So always be prepared. You don't have to be the smartest person in the world. I tell all my students this. You don't have to be smart to be a good public speaker. All you got to do is prepare. Practice. Hard work beats talent. when talent doesn't work hard. They understand this. Sterling, I want you to know that, okay? All it takes is practice and hard work. You don't have to be super smart. In fact, super smart, talented people, they don't work as hard because they know they're talented. So they kind of lay back a little bit. Most of them, okay? So Sterling, eight minutes is too long. I had a chance to read your script. You have about 500, around 500 words. It's too short. But why went overtime? Because like I said, he lost himself, right? Okay, but usually if you have 500 words, that would be way too short, okay? A great speech, 7-minute speech, 5 to 7 minutes should be, for me, this is what I've learned from my experience, should be about 600 to 650 words. A lot of other people in Toastmasters, hey, that's them. They'll say 750 words. But I always find less is better. Less is more quality. 600 to 650 words, you might think, oh my God, that's too short. But it is not. Because I'm going to tell you, something that Sterling, you should know how to do is you need to learn how to pause. Okay, so for example, Sterling, in the beginning, right? What did you say? What are those first 2 sentences you said?
What if your husband asks you for some expensive stuff, but you are in a tough time in life? Will you allow him to do it?
Keep going.
To do it? Counter-share, and ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, stop. Yes. So right there, you asked 2 questions. It's too much.
Oh.
When you it's great that you ask a question in the beginning of your speech. That's how you connect with the audience. Because you ask a question to the audience in the beginning of your speech, they will want to connect with you. That's like a speaker reaching out to you, right? And you ask a question. But problem is, Sterling you ask too many questions. You only ask 1 question if you're going to ask a question. And when you ask a question, you just kept going.
Okay.
Do you like apples? Yeah, I like apples. It's too fast. What did you say in the beginning? Again, say it again.
Okay. What if your husband asks you for some expensive stuff, but you are in a tough time in life? Will you allow him to do that?
Okay, I would say, if you screw up, what would you do? Right. And the thing is, right, because your question is too long.
Okay.
Okay. When you ask a question to the audience, they have to process what you said. So after you ask a question, you have to give them time to think about the question you asked. Are you afraid of ghosts? I am. See, like I gave the audience time to think about that. Am I afraid of ghosts? So you have to do the same. You ask a simple question and pause. And when you ask a question, right, you can often look at one person in the audience. Just one, because everybody else will follow. You look at one person in the audience and say, you afraid of ghosts? I am. Okay, so you got to pause and look at people in the eye. Eye contact is super duper important, especially when you ask a question. Don't look just everywhere because they don't connect. It's connection. You got to have eye contact. Pause. Okay. Pausing is so important. That's why I say when you pause, your speech will become shorter. Okay. And so that's very important. So that too. So also, how do you practice at home? How do you practice at home your speech?
My speech?
So like when you're going to go to a speech contest and you're going to do a speech, how do you practice at home?
Truly speaking, no.
Okay, but literally, how do you do it?
Okay, actually, okay. What if your husband asks
No. I mean, do you practice when nobody's around?
No.
How do you practice? When people are around?
When people are around?
Yeah, or do you practice in a room by yourself?
Actually, I always use my mind.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so what
I
I'm
practice by my thinking.
Okay, good. Sterling, so
like,
what I'm trying to tell you, right, is these are what I'm trying to tell you now. These are the things that will help you to do things differently so you can get to another level.
Okay.
Okay, maybe it takes more time too, right? But I'm going to tell you. So Sterling,
yes,
never ever practice your speech in your head. I never read my speech like this in my head, ever. You can memorize it, right? But I'm going to tell you, as soon as you get up and start speaking, you're going to forget. Because the way you deliver it on the stage is completely different than the way you practice at home. It's different. You cannot do things differently when you practice, and then you go on stage for real and do it. Everything has to be exactly the same. The way you practice on stage, or the way you practice at home has to be exactly as close as possible to the way you deliver it for real on stage. so that then there's no surprises.
Mm.
See, the reason why you get nervous is because you have surprises.
Mm.
So when you go home and you practice, I want you to do this from now on. Stand, read out loud.
Mm. Okay.
Don't say it in your head. Read it out loud all the time. That way you can hear yourself. You can hear your vocal variety. You can hear everything. You can correct yourself. Okay. Now, when you do this, right, always try to have people around.
Mm.
Don't do it in a room by yourself. Anybody can do that, right? But as soon as people are around, whoa, you get scared. Why? Because you do it differently. And it's called public speaking. You know, my students get scared too, right? But as soon as they have to get in front of people, they get scared and they can't do the speech. I said, hey, do you know this is called public speaking class?
Really?
So
You gotta speak it
where your students went? Yeah.
I tell them, you go to public places, go to a train station, go to the supermarket, go to a hot spring,
Okay.
go to department store. And believe me, they do it. It takes them some time, but they do it. How do I know they do it? Because they send me videos of them standing at a park, or it's literally one student at a hot spring, and he's standing there and his mom's recording and he's doing a speech in front of everybody in English. I have not just one or two students, many students, they start doing that once they start developing confidence. That helps you to develop confidence. So when you're practicing your speech, you also have to develop your confidence at the same time. Practice when people are around. Who cares what they think? Okay? You got to get to the point where you don't care what your audience thinks. You just keep speaking so that you don't feel nervous and insecure. So that when you get on stage, you'll feel so relaxed, so happy. So you'll be excited instead of nervous. Okay? So practice all the time in front of people, in the hallway, at your workplace, in front of your family. Go to a park. That's the way you practice. Okay? So, and also speak out loud. Never do it in your head. All right. So, I hope, you know, you can be coachable, because if you're coachable, right, then you're committed. Okay. If you have a coach, I can tell you this, if you get a coach for your speaking contest, okay, be coachable. Right now, you were not coachable. I can tell you this because when I asked you for your speech last week, I never got it. I asked a few times, and it's okay. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. A lot of people do this. I did this too. So I'm just trying to share with you, because coach is there to tell you from his experience what's going to happen. And if you don't listen, something is going to happen. And then you're going to get off stage and say, I should have listened. Right? So the coach is there to help you. You got to be coachable. So when the coach tells you to do something, you got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone, and you got to be willing to try it. So if I say, Sterling, tomorrow, go do that speech in front of Taipei 101, then you have to be willing to do it no matter how hard it is. You got to do it.
Yes.
Okay. And Sterling, they'll probably never see you again. Right. But you got to be willing to do the hard stuff, because if you're not willing to do the hard stuff, I'm telling you, a lot of other speakers, right, will not do that. But you will. That's what sets you apart. And that's what makes you great, from good to great. Right? You want to be great, you got to do these different things. Okay? So do that. Okay? And also, now, I want to just try to tell you, in the beginning of your speech, you walk this way, right? Okay, you always have to practice it like it's a real thing. So in the real thing, you would be over here. So right away, I was expecting you to go over there and stand there, not walk through the center. No, never.
Okay.
Because you did it differently. You're going to do it differently at the speech contest. When you walk in here, you stood there, right? And you spoke right away. Do not speak right away. You stand there, stand, okay? Okay.
Yes.
Now, get ready, do your speech. Okay, let's say you're walking in. Okay, come on in. Okay, stand there, walk on in. Okay, let's say I shake your hand, and okay, and I go, okay, go ahead, do your speech.
What if you're
Too fast. Too fast.
Too fast?
Yes, it's too fast.
Yeah.
Because when you get here, the first thing you should do is you should stand here and look at your audience. And then you speak. It's called the 5-second rule. I call it the 5-second rule is because, you know, the judges, you don't know who they are, right? But, you know, I've seen this before. Judges, they are still writing stuff when you get on stage. They're not paying attention. Some of the judges, they're on their smartphone thinking, oh, when's this guy going to leave? What am I going to have for dinner tonight? Honestly, they're doing different things. They're talking to their friends. So you don't have their attention. If they're not paying attention, the audience is not paying attention. So the first thing you should do is you stand here, wait 5 seconds. I call it the 5-second rule. And guess what? When you wait 5 seconds, everybody who's doing this is going to go like this. What's going on with Sterling? Is he scared? But hey, guess what? You're looking at me. Now I got your attention. Now you're looking at me. Then I'm going to say, do you believe in ghosts? So you see how I catch their attention? 5 seconds, I call it, until it's completely silent. And if I see somebody still doing something, I'll wait and stare at them and smile. And then they'll go, okay? And then you start. And then when you come here and you stand, your body language speaks. Actually, I want to tell you, your body language is more powerful than what you say a lot of the times. So when you stand here, before you even speak, I call this a speaker stance. Right now, your feet are like this. It's like this, right? Looks unprofessional. You got to look like you are ready. You got to look like you're ready to speak, and you're here with a message, right? Your toes should be facing forward, and your feet should be shoulder apart, and your hands should be here. Straight body. You look straight. You look confident when you do that. But when you stand here and you go like this, it doesn't look good. Okay? And the reason why you like to put your hands here, I tell my students the same thing. Don't put your hands here. Because when you show the outside part of your palms, right? In public speaking circles, this is called you are hiding something. You are not being authentic. You're trying to protect yourself. When people try to protect themselves, they go like this, right? When I tell my kids, hey, what are you doing? They go like this. Oh, nothing, right? Like this too, it's no good. You should always keep your hands here, and experienced judge, when they see you standing like this, straight, with your hands on your side, they can tell immediately, oh, this guy looks confident. And oh, this guy looks not nervous, because they can tell by your hands. When your hands are stiff like this, they can tell you're nervous. When your hands are relaxed, they can tell. Just by looking at your body, they can tell if you're relaxed and ready. You have to be relaxed and ready. So never put your hands there. Always here. Relax. And if I think they look stiff, I come and go, hey, it's too stiff. Relax. Smile. Yeah, no, you know what? If you don't smile at the audience, right? Your audience won't smile. It's your job to make the audience feel good, because you're the speaker. Okay, so you got to smile. You look so serious. Your smile is upside down right now, Sterling. Yes, okay? So when you come on stage, smile and stand straight. And then say something, anything.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, all right. But remember to wait 5 seconds too, okay? So 5-second rule, stand straight. Hands on your side, relax. Okay, and look at your audience. You're scanning the audience to see what your audience looks like. You got to know your audience, because every audience is different. Okay, now the next part is okay. You want to go from good to great. Well, your title says good to great. Okay, so you know what? I always think that when you have a message in your speech, do not tell them the entire thing. So it's good to great. I wouldn't say good to great. I would just say great. Okay,
Great.
So like in my speech, when I did my speech, right, I just called it wake up call. That was it. But obviously my message was much longer, right? Make better choices was my message to the audience, right? So don't give away the whole thing in your title. Don't make your title too long. Just a portion of it is important, because that will keep your audience wondering and guessing, oh, what is this speech about? It's called great. What does that mean? Right? So don't give away everything in your speech, okay, through the title. The other thing is, okay, so the gestures. When you talk about your wife, you can actually show the audience, where's your wife on stage? She's over there. Okay. When you talk about your wife, you can go over there, right? When you talk about the guy that cut you off, right? You can go this way. Like, where your wife is and where the guy that cut you off is, you have to show them where they are on stage. So it's like you're leading them through a story, right? If you stand in one spot all the time, it's no good. Because you moved on stage, but it wasn't deliberate. Like, my wife is over there, and my wife said this. This stupid guy over here cut me off, right? So this is how the audience follows you. But the way you did it, right, was you just kept moving and then like this, but without meaning. There was no meaning to it. So you cannot move on stage without meaning. So from now on, the next time you do it, when you get coached more, try to move on stage when you have a deliberate meaning or action to show the audience. Okay. Don't just move on stage, because when you're just moving on stage for no reason, that shows the audience you're nervous. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. There's a lot. I got to cram in here. Okay. Okay. I think you should have some kind of a catchphrase in your speech. Like, for example, like I said, when I did my speech,
punchline or like that? Or?
no, it has something to do with your title. So for example, when I did my speech, one of my speeches was called Wake Up Call, right? And my catchphrase was make better choices. Make better choices is connected to wake up call. So actually, when you'd use that, right? So in your speech, you got to find a catchphrase. You didn't have one. The reason why it's important is because when you're delivering your message to the audience, don't presume they know what your message is. Don't presume. They don't know. If you don't say it, they will be confused. So I always say, make better choices. In my speech, I counted. I said, make better choices 5 times throughout the speech. When I finished one section, I said, make better choices. And I didn't. And I finished another section. I went to McDonald's and I went blind. Oh, I didn't make better choices. And then when people told me, the doctor told me to make better choices, at the end I said, make better choices. I kept saying make better choices so many times that after each section, the audience knows, oh, this guy's trying to tell me something. I should make better choices. That's what it's about. That's what the wake-up call is about, right? And then at the end, when you do your conclusion, you go full circle. Go back to the question you asked in the beginning of your speech. Ask it again. Maybe if you want, to the same person. Who knows? And then use your catchphrase again. Make better choices, right? You got to put that in your conclusion. That way, your audience knows, oh, that's his message. Okay, so that's the other thing I need to talk to you about is when you say good to great, I was a little bit confused because when you said good to great,
from good to
you
great.
didn't start good. You got cut off from the guy, right? And you're having a terrible day. You lost your job, right?
Okay.
So you didn't start off good, but you said from good to great. So it didn't make sense to me. As a judge, I would dock you for that for sure. Doesn't make sense. You're leaping over good. You're starting from terrible and you leap all the way to great. But what was the good? We don't know, right? So at least you have to describe, okay, start from good if you have to, or go from terrible to good, then to great.
But maybe change the topic, just like a great.
You have to revise it, or you have to change something.
Yeah, okay.
And so actually, for me, I would try to tell you is don't use material things to describe who you are. Like you're great because you got this BMW. Because a lot of people cannot relate. Hey,
understand. Yes, yes.
I can't afford a BMW. I don't know what it's like, right? You got to be able to connect with your audience. That means you have to talk about things that they can relate to. Okay, so don't use BMW. And I wouldn't use a Toyota because I drive a Toyota. Okay, so you might actually make the audience feel terrible. Oh, I'll never be great because I don't have a BMW. So you got to use something else. Use another analogy. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay, now you got to have a stronger turning point. Your turning point is when your wife told you that she loves you and she let you get this BMW.
Yes.
I personally think it is not a strong
turning point.
It's not a strong defining moment. In every speech, you have to have a defining moment that changes you. Audience sees that. But I don't buy it when you say your wife let you buy a BMW, so that changed who you are. I don't buy it. I just don't, right? So you got to use something else, something that will tug at people's hearts, connect to them, okay? So you got to find something else.
It's indeed.
I know it could be. Right, it could be.
Yeah.
But so you have to dig further and you have to try to find something that is more meaningful. Okay, when I had a coach, there were times when I said something I felt was really meaningful, but it wasn't. So my coach sat down with me often, and when we had coaching sessions, oftentimes we wouldn't even do speech. he would ask me lots of questions about me, get to know my life, get to know what I do, get to know how my day was, and just talk, right? And when I have students and I coach them, I do the same thing. I just sit down sometimes for the whole hour. I won't even do speeches with them. I'll just sit down, talk about their family life and what they do, what happened, and I get to know them. You create a bond, and then they get to know who you are. The coach has to know who you are. And also when you tell your coach certain things, the coach will go, hey, that's what we need. That's why you have to let coach into your personal life, and you have to, let somebody dig into your life to find the gold. There's a lot of gold. Sometimes we can't see it, but the coach can see it. Okay. All right. So you need a stronger message there. I didn't really see what the message was, but it has to be stronger.
Okay. Thank you.
Last thing, sorry, I know because it's red card. Okay. In your conclusion, you should recall the question. Okay. You should have that catchphrase. Okay. And then repeat your message. What is the message that you're trying to tell everybody? Hey, what am I trying to tell you? You just want to suffer through my speech, or am I actually telling you something that you can connect with? And what will you do about it? So you have to tell them that. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, we cannot do everything today, but this is just what I can tell
Really good.
Sterling for now. And I hope you guys enjoyed his speech. Hopefully we can see how far Sterling gets in his journey. He's going to learn and grow more. Just be willing to do something different. You got to think outside the box. You got to do different things.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, Sterling.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. I don't think you can write all these down because there's so much. So if you want to take a snapshot, that will be better than writing it down. Okay. Think outside the box. If you're not willing to think outside the box, you're always doing the same thing. And if you keep doing the same thing, you're not gonna get different results. You want to get different results, you gotta do things differently. Try different things, okay? That's the scariest thing for people. So I'm gonna just talk about some general preparation tips. Make a commitment. If you say you're going to enter a speech contest, or you say to your club you're gonna do a speech, make a commitment. Don't call the day before and say, oh, I can't, I'm really sick, when you're not, right? If you're going to go to a speech contest, make a commitment and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to practice, right? I'm going to get a coach, or I'm going to get somebody to help me, and I'm going to listen to that person. If he says, I got to show up on Monday at 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to go. You have to make that kind of commitment. Otherwise, nothing will change. If you ever make a speech, share a personal story. Because people connect with stories, especially personal stories. And it's also easier for the speaker. Like if Sterling talks about his personal life, it's easier to remember. Okay? Share a personal story. Share a universal message. Talk about something that most people in your audience will be able to relate to. Okay? Like if I say, hey, have you ever been broke? People can relate to that because we all have sometimes at certain times, we have money issues, right? But if I talk about something that people have never really related to, like, hey, I love fixing clocks, but who can relate to that? You got to talk about something that people can relate to, okay? Use a catchphrase. I talked about that already. Have a takeaway message. You always have to have a message that your audience can take away and learn from, okay? That's why speeches are so powerful. Okay, this is very important. Use grade 4 language, especially Taiwanese people. I always see this when I go to clubs. They try to be so fancy. They think their speech is going to be better because when they come up, they use such fancy words. Even I don't know. I have to look it up while they're doing their speeches. If you have to use such fancy words, you lost your audience. That's the worst thing to do. So if you want to keep your audience on you, you can be more powerful by using more simple language. I always tell my students, do not speak any words that are above grade 4. Really? They think, hey, I'm in grade 6. Why are you telling me to? Because if you can use grade 4 language for your whole speech, guess what? Your whole audience, no matter what country they live in, no matter what English level they are at, they will be able to understand you. And that is the thing about speeches. You have to be able to have your audience understand what you're doing and saying. So don't go above grade 4 language. Cut out all the technical fancy words. Use simple words. It's more powerful. Okay? Use teaser titles. Like I said, don't give away your whole message in the title. Very short, just a portion of it. Okay? Record, write, and revise. I always have a speech. I record it. I listen to it. I write it down. I revise and cut it out. I go to a club and I use the speech and I test it on people. And then I see who's laughing at my jokes, who is not laughing at my jokes, for example, right? Nobody laughed. I go back and I revise it and say, didn't work. I got to find something else. Then I go to another club and I try a new thing and I keep doing it. So I never revise until I go to a club or somebody and I test it on somebody. I never revise it until I do that, because that is the most effective revisions. Okay, so always try to get in front of a club, and don't just do your speech in front of your club. Too comfortable. You should go to other clubs where people don't know you. Again, get yourself out of the comfort zone. Okay, and you'll do a lot better. So record, write, and revise. One of my speeches, I remember I revised, 135 times. Yeah, I even revised a day, 2 days before the speech contest. I was so upset with my coach because how could you do this to me? But I realized, there's no such thing as a perfect speech. Okay, it always can evolve and change. So there's no such thing as a perfect speech. Some people write one speech and they never change it. Bad. You have to keep revising so it gets better. Okay, 600 to 650 words. That's my Bible. Okay, if you can finish this speech with 600 to 650 words and it's too short, that means you're not taking time to converse with your audience, pause, look at them, move around. You're not doing enough. Okay, hire a coach. Well, hire doesn't mean this. You're at Toastmasters. We're all volunteer. You can't fire me. I can't fire you. We're all doing it because we want to be here, right? Okay, so you can hire a coach. It could be anybody. That if you hire a coach, please don't hire somebody that knows you really well. I would hire somebody that will be direct and honest with me, okay? Because the worst coaches are the ones that are very indirect. They don't want to hurt your feelings. But you never learn anything because they want to hurt your feelings. But somebody who doesn't know you well, be very direct and be honest with you, okay? That's a coach. And maybe somebody who's like Sterling, he wants to go to the district level. If I was Sterling, I would go find somebody I don't know very well, but I would want to make friends with and say, hey, could you coach me a little bit, right? And be my coach. Here, if you say yes, I'll send you my speech. I'll send you my video. Can you have a look at it? I'd really appreciate it. Some people say yes. This is what Toastmasters is about. If they say no, go somewhere else. Really, it's all numbers. If 5 people say no, eventually one person's going to say yes. Okay, so get a coach. Select experienced evaluators. When I go to a club and I do my speech, I never ask for any evaluator. Some people like to get everybody to evaluate the speaker. I never do that because I've tried that before. I just burn and crash because you hear so many evaluations, you don't know which one to follow. I always say, please choose Mike. And Mike will be my evaluator. I listen to what he says only. Okay, because he's experienced, I can learn from his experience and what he thinks about my speech, and I learn from his evaluation. So select specific evaluators only. All right, now get to speech delivery tips really quick. Internalize your story. Sterling didn't internalize yet, right? Because he doesn't know it very well. What do I mean by internalize? You got to say your speech and practice it so much that you're just literally, you're so exhausted. Like when you're dreaming in your speech like this. You got to say it so many times that it just flows out of your mouth from here, not from here. If you have to say your speech on stage and it's coming from here, the audience knows this guy doesn't know his speech well. He's not authentic because he's still trying to memorize. But when your speech starts flowing from here and comes out your mouth, that's a wow speaker. You got to internalize it. It's the only way. You got to practice it so much in front of people. Don't memorize on stage. Okay. If you forget your speech, just say something and keep going. A lot of people don't know in my second place speech, I lost my lines. Nobody knew. Only my coach knew. But I just kept going. And then eventually I found my lines. Don't go. If you do that, then they'll know you lost your lines. So that's never good. So you got to know how to act impromptu speaking, right? When you say your speech on stage. Don't memorize, okay? Be authentic. It's like you're talking to your friends. The way I'm talking to you now, it's the way I talk to my students, my friends, everybody. Have a strong intro. How do you have a strong intro? You can ask a question like Sterling did, but very short, okay? And pause. Or you can do something with a prop. When you have a prop, don't use such big props. When I did my second place speech, I had a little timer. It's very small. I laid on the floor and I stood up and went beep, 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 beep. Guess what? When I did that, you should have seen the looks on people's faces. When I laid down on the floor, they're like, oh, I heard one lady go, oh, she thought I fainted. But it wasn't. I was supposed to lie down pretending I'm sleeping, and I pressed the button. Beep, 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 beep. When I stood up, right? People are like, oh. See, that's a strong intro. You got to catch the audience's attention by doing something. That's a strong intro. Don't just start by, oh, I like to talk about. No, you lost your audience then, okay? Practice, practice, practice. That's the same thing as internalizing your story. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be talented. Just practice so much that you get really good at something that you're doing. Whatever you do in your practice, it has to be the same as what you do in your contest. So that when you get to the contest, there's no surprises, okay? You don't like surprises. Public speakers don't like surprises because they practice so much a certain way. That's the way you need to do it on stage. Practice to be better. Don't be perfect. I have a problem with my students with this. Every student nowadays, they try to be perfect. Even speakers too, they try to be perfect. That's why they get nervous on stage, because they know they won't be perfect. But they keep saying to themselves, I got to be perfect. I practice a million times. I got to be perfect, but they don't. So they set themselves up for failure. Just practice to be better. We all just want to be better, but nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody can. It's impossible. So stop saying to yourself, you got to be perfect. Just be better. Okay? Better than yesterday. Revise and test, especially humor. People always ask me, how do you get humor? I don't usually write humor down. When I think I have something funny, I write it down. I never do that. I always go about my day and I talk to people. When I talk to my students and maybe I'm teaching a class and I say something and my students will all go, ha, ha, ha. They'll laugh and I go, was that funny? They go, yeah, that was hilarious. And I go, wait. I take my phone and I write it down. This was funny. My students laughed, right? And then sometimes I'll forget what they said and I'll say, hey, wait a second. What did I exactly say? And they know. And they'll help me write it down. And then I take that and I put it in my speech. That's how what I mean is basically when you, like, for example, humor, you got to revise and test it. You got to see if people will laugh. And if they don't laugh, you should take it out or change it. But don't force yourself. Laughter has to come naturally. Humor has to come naturally. Otherwise, it won't be funny. Focus on content and delivery, not English ability. A lot of Taiwanese people think this. They think their English has to be better. Otherwise, he won't beat the foreigner. It's not true. I got beaten. How? They were Taiwanese. Because English is only one thing you got to learn to be a good speaker. In English, okay? You got to have good eye contact, stage presence, vocal variety. You got to be good at a lot of other things that public speakers do, right? If you can do that good, then you don't have to necessarily have the best English. Okay? The whole point is for you to get your audience to connect with you and have them understand you. And it doesn't mean your English has to be superior. You got to do a lot of other public speaking skills to be a good public speaker. Okay? And one more thing, stage delivery tips really quick. Like I told Sterling today, use a speaker stance. Use the 5-second rule right at the beginning of your speech. Use body language and stage movements to give you cues. So like I was telling Sterling, when I talk about my wife, I know that if I'm not sure what I need to say, I use my body language and my stage movement to cue me what I'm going to say. So I know, oh, next I need to talk about my wife. Oh, I go over there. Oh, that guy that cut me off, right? I know I have to go this way. So I cue myself to go this way. So that's how body language helps you as the audience, because you follow along, also helps me as a speaker to know what I'm going to say next on stage. So you got to use body language. Don't stand in one spot. Move around, okay? Show inside palms. When you talk to your audience, show this. This means you're being honest and open. Don't do this. This is good. Okay, show your palms. Show this more than you do this, okay? Because audience wants to know you are authentic. Audience will forgive you if you make a mistake, but they will never forgive you if you are not authentic. Remember, okay? Because they don't like fake people. You like fake people? Fake news? You like that? Okay. Use pauses. So especially when you have a very defining moment in your speech or you have a question, pause. When you hear that silence, that's very powerful. Some people will say, oh, wow. That's a wow moment. So pause. But don't pause everywhere. Doesn't make sense, okay? Record your deliveries. When I practice, I always now put on a recorder and I record myself. So that way I can go back and try to fix things. And I can say to myself, oh God, I look terrible. Or I can fix something, okay? And that's one thing I wanted to tell you, Sterling, is when you record yourself, oh, actually, when you practice, when you're almost ready for your speech contest, you should wear a suit. If you go to the speech contest like that, I saw your previous speech contest on YouTube. You wore something just like this, right? You got to dress like you're ready. You got to wear a suit. Or for girls, wear a dress or a dress suit. You got to look better. That makes a difference. Okay? From the audience's point of view, they're already judging you before you even get on stage. You come with a t-shirt and shorts, that's the way they're going to treat you. If you come with a suit and you're ready to speak, they're going to treat you differently. Even when you practice, you got to get used to feeling like what's it like to wear a suit and deliver a speech. Okay? Always do that. And also when you wear something nice, do not wear super bright clothes, like super bright pink or fluorescent clothes. Never. Always wear something dark because you don't want those bright clothes to overpower you as a speaker. Oftentimes people say, oh, that's bright. Because they just keep focusing on your dress because it's so bright. They're not listening to you. So always wear something darker. Always. You'll see a lot of world champions. You'll never see a world champion wear anything bright. It's always dark. Okay? They want you to focus on the speech. Start stranger training, like I told Sterling. Start just a little bit. Maybe in the beginning, you're too scared. Start in front of your family. Start in front of your coworkers. Start in front of the mirror if you can't do it in front of everybody. Do it in front of the mirror. Do it in front of a recorder. When you get a little bit more confident, then start in the hallway. Start at a park at 12 o'clock midnight when nobody's around. You got to build it up until you can get to a place where you just stand out there, start speaking. Okay? I did mine at McDonald's. Scary. But it helps, okay? It's got to build it up. Deliver at other clubs. I always practice my speeches. I call clubs anywhere in Taiwan. I just say, I'd like to deliver a speech. And don't think that they'll say no, because they would love to hear your speech. They'll go, oh yeah, we don't have speakers. Please come. You go there and they'll say, who's this guy? He's come from all the way here and he wants to do a speech. Do your speech because they don't know you. You don't know them. If you screw up real bad, you'll never see them again. All right? But the most important thing is you feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's good. You always have to feel a little bit uncomfortable because that makes you grow. Okay? And then that's what makes you a great public speaker. Deliver at other clubs. Don't just deliver at your club. Okay? Learn to feel comfortable being uncomfortable. This is very important, okay? Everybody's always uncomfortable when they're learning something new. You got to embrace it. Don't turn around and run away because it'll get worse. Face it. Try it. Okay? Be comfortable being in uncomfortable feeling. As a public speaker, you have to experience this, okay? And use simple props. Don't come with a big, huge thing on stage and use a prop that's so gigantic, somebody has to help you move it, okay? Use something small, something simple. You don't even have to use a prop, but if you have to, use something small, okay? Oh, at the end, that's good. Sterling said contest chair or contest master. Okay, the only thing that he should do at the end, a lot of people still do this in Toastmasters when they're finished their speech, they go like this. Thank you. Don't bow. Okay? In Toastmasters, we don't bow. And don't say thank you. Why do you need to say thank you? You are the speaker. Look, it's like if I give you a gift, what do you say?
Thank you.
So why do I have to say thank you? If you say thank you, and what do I say? As a speaker, you need to know this. I'm doing the speech. I finish my speech. I don't need to say thank you to all of you. You should all say thank you to me because I gave you something. I gave you my heart, my soul. I gave you my speech, right? So how does the audience say thank you? They do this. That's how audience says thank you. How does the speaker say you're welcome? How do they say you're welcome? Contest chair or contest master. You got to find out what they want. If they say they want contest master, then say contest master. They know you're finished. You don't even need to bow. In some places, okay, you can bow. When you bow, that means thank you. Oh, sorry, that means you're welcome. And the audience claps, okay? But speaker should never say thank you. Okay, and Toastmasters don't bow, just say contest master, contest chair, or Toastmaster. Done. No bowing, no thank you, okay? Never say thank you, it's confusing. Okay, this is the last thing, contest day. Dress for success. Wear dark clothes, nothing bright. Know your stage. I always go to the stage 2 days before or 1 day before. I physically get on that stage and I practice on that stage for a couple of hours. So when I go to this contest the next day or 2 days later, I know that stage. I know where to move. I know what to change. I feel comfortable because I've been there before. If you just get onto a stage that you've never been, you'll feel a little bit more nervous. So practice on the real stage just a couple of days before or 1 day before. Know your stage. Sometimes stage is bigger, sometimes stage is smaller. You got to check that. Practice on stage with microphone. I know this from experience because my microphone disconnected once at the district level. Okay. You got to know what to do. Most of the time, I don't practice with microphone because I want my voice to be loud anyways, because when you practice with your voice being loud without microphone, you will know how loud to speak when the microphone screws up. Because a lot of people, they don't speak loud because they rely on the microphone to speak into the microphone and project their voice. But if your microphone goes dead, you're dead. So you got to learn how to speak louder without the microphone. I only use microphone in practice 2 days or 1 day before I get on stage. I use the actual microphone they're going to use. I do testing. I do everything like that with the same microphone. That way I know how loud I'm going to be on the stage. Okay? Don't be nervous. Some people say, I'm nervous. If you tell people I'm nervous, you're going to be nervous. Everybody's going to know you're nervous. And you're going to be like this, right? From now on, when you're nervous, before you get on stage, if you say you're nervous, don't say that. Who's saying that to you? You. Okay? You got to say to yourself, I'm excited. Because actually, when you think about it, being nervous and being excited, it's the same feeling. It's just one is negative, one is positive. You're focusing on the negative when you say, I'm nervous. You're focusing on the positive when you say, I'm excited. When you say you're excited, you get on stage, man, you're going to do such a better job. If Sterling came here today and he said to himself, I'm excited, he'll probably do a little bit better. Okay? So always think excited, not nervous. Take slow, deep breaths. When you get nervous and you can't control your heartbeat, your heartbeat gets hotter, just breathe deep. Do this for 2 minutes. You got to relax yourself. It helps. Take deep breaths. And most importantly, don't be perfect. Be you on stage. Don't act, okay? Know your audience. Know them. That's how you know how to speak to them. And lastly, this is the last thing. Thank you for being patient, okay? You know, Elon Musk, he's one of my mentors, okay? He likes to say such wonderful things, but it relates totally to my life in particular, okay? He said, the first step is to establish that something is possible. If you think it's possible, you can do it, then probability will occur. Yeah, you got to say to yourself, can I do this? Sterling says, I want to get to district level. Can I do this? You got to say to yourself, yeah, it's possible. If you say, yeah, it's possible, then you're willing to step out of the box and try different things. You're willing to be committed. You're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. So this is the end of my workshop. Thank you so much. I hope you guys learned something. I know it's a lot. I went really overtime, but thank you for listening. Thank you so much.